Hey everybody, I was just on live earlier and I was talking about a couple of supplement products, and so I figured I'd get on here and chat about those same ones too. I'm out here in the country area and I've been getting little bites. Don't know what's doing it, but they like me out here pretty good. Anyways, today I was talking about Moringa and oil of oregano and burdock. So I'm just going to do a quick little talk about each of those, and then that way, we can have some basic information on here. I chose that combo right there because I felt like across the board it was really good. I picked one product that was very building and nourishing, like a superfood. I picked one product that was very detoxifying and antimicrobial to cleanse and break stuff down, and then I picked one product that in my mind does them both. And so I wanted to again do across the board building, cleansing, and nourishing, just with 3 different products. And so the first thing that I talked about was Moringa. And Moringa is a superfood, and so with Moringa we have a lot of really nice benefits and properties. For me, I like Moringa because it is a superfood. So the superfood to me means that I can consume it and maintain health and vitality and potentially live off of it for an extended period of time if I had to do so. And so with Moringa, some of the high hitting points is that it does have good protein in there. And that's not the most common thing to see in all green plants. It's a higher, content of the protein. So with the Moringa, it's in there. So automatically we know that we've got really good amino acid profiles, because amino acids do build into protein, correct? And so that means a lot. So like if, say with the superfood, say I had to live off of Moringa for a while, I don't believe that the body would have as much of a muscle wasting effect if I had Moringa in my system than it might with something else. And so having a superfood that's got good protein in there means that we won't be wasting, my dog back there, hey Bubba, means that we won't be wasting muscles the same way. So we'll still be able to keep up our energy and our strength and our muscle tone, and we won't be doing wasting processes where we're just breaking down proteins that our body actually needs to use and utilize. It also has a lot of vitamins and minerals, and so that's going to hit upon a few things. Having a lot of vitamins and minerals means that it's pretty an alkalizing product. So an easier way for us to alkalize the system is to have something in there that's got a high vitamin and mineral content. And we know that alkalizing the system is really good with helping to maintain cellular integrity and just vitality long term. You do want an acidic belly, but you do want an alkaline body. And so when we use a superfood like Moringa, it'll get in there and help to alkalize the system because it does have a lot of vitamins and minerals in there. Moringa also has a really good anti-inflammatory effect, and so it'll get in there and it'll help to reduce inflammation systemically all over, but I've seen it work really well for a lot of people who have like joint gripiness. Like if I've got somebody who's coming in all the time and their knees are always aching, or their hands hurt, or they've been to a specialist and they're telling them that they've got osteoarthritis or this or that, Moringa's a nice one to add into the mix because again, it's alkalizing, so it reduces that inflammation that the acidity leads to, but then also it really does just like to be anti-inflammatory in there too. And then I've also had other people use the Moringa because it's got a really good blood sugar modulating effect. So if we've got somebody who comes in and they are having, elevated blood sugar, and they're struggling with trying to get it down, or struggling with trying to maintain healthy eating habits so that they can get it down, Moringa might be one for them too. So all in all, it's just a really easy superfood to use. And we know it's going to nourish the pancreas because it has such a positive effect on balance and blood sugar. So yeah, Moringa is really good. You could do it in capsules. I'm an herbalist. I have an online business, dandelionemporium.com. I sell it in tea, like the actual leaves to make a tea, and I sell it in powder all the time. With the powder, you could just mix it in a little bit of water. You can put it in juice. You can put it in your smoothie. You can sprinkle it in your spaghetti sauce, whatever. It just tastes green. It's not like it's a hard herb to take, in my opinion. If you're going to do the leaves, you could make it as a tea. You could do the tea hot. You could make it as an iced tea if you wanted to brew it and then put it in the fridge, let it cool off, and just drink it. Again, it's just green. You could do it by, it's green tasting. You could do it by itself, or you could put it with like some spearmint and some lemongrass to make it like a cold, good iced tea. And if you're wanting to do it hot, you could also add it with mints, or you could put it with you know, some cinnamon and orange if you were wanting to make it a little spicier, to have a little bit more heat for the system if you're cool or cold outside. And then the next product I was talking about was oil of oregano, and oregano in general. So the consensus is that a lot of people like oil of oregano. I again sell herbs, and so I sell oregano in the actual leaf in the powder form a lot. I have a lot of people who will take oregano and they'll mix it with other herbs, you know. The oil of oregano is already in an oil form where a lot of people might do, you know, 4 or 5 drops as a serving, or it'll be in soft gels where they can just swallow those soft gels and take it. Oil of oregano is one of those that are super antimicrobial, so it likes to eradicate bacteria, yeast, fungus, parasites. I see it work really nice for people who have chronic sinus and allergy issues. If they sneeze a lot, if they wake up and they're snotty, or they're trying to move mucus out of the lungs every morning. Oregano really likes to work with stuff like that. I see the oregano also work really good if we've got people who've got like some chronic dental issues. I used to work with a lady and she had some pretty chronic dental issues, and there were 2 herbs that she used all the time. And oil of, or the oregano was one of it. She used oil of oregano in soft gels, and she also put a little bit of oil and real diluted in some water, and she would do a mouth rinse out of it. You know, it's just kind of up to you. It's a really stout herb, so you definitely want to dilute it properly when you're using it in a concentrated form like that. We also see it really being good because it's antimicrobial to balance up and keep a microbiome nice and healthy. You know, you are a living being and you have tons of living beings inside of you, be it bacteria, yeast, fungus, parasites, and everything in between. But what we have learned is that in your GI tract, in your gut, in your intestines, you make up to 80% of your serotonin there. And you also make up to 50% of your dopamine in your intestines. And this is huge, and it's pivotal to me. So if we've got somebody who chronically feels low in spirits, if they don't have zest for life, if they feel unhappy, you know, if they feel sad a whole lot, if they're having a really hard time getting out of that, making sure that they're doing something to keep the microbiome in check is probably pretty smart. Or say they just don't have enough dopamine. That's our reward hormone, right? That's the hormone that we get whenever we've done something really excited, or you know, somebody's liked something and we get all excited, or you get a bunch of posts on a place, like, you know, a bunch of likes on something like this, and you're searching for it, you're going back and looking. That's dopamine. Those are dopamine hits. You know, if you've eaten a really good meal, things like that. And so again, what we've learned is if the microbiome is not correct, if it's not nourished, if it's not healthy, if you have too many bad guys that are in there and planting themselves along the walls, and you don't have enough good guys, you might not have the correct bacteria to make sure that the body's making those hormones that you need. And so making sure that we're taking something that's antimicrobial like oregano or oil of oregano, in my opinion, is pretty important. And it's the one that I was talking about at the beginning of this video, that's going to be more cleansing, more detoxing, more, you know, downturning, more helping the body to eradicate things that we don't need. And then the third product that I was talking about is the one that I feel like is right in the middle, and that's burdock root. And so you've got some superfoods that are building, like your moringa, and you've got some herbs that are very antimicrobial and detoxing and cleansing and purging, like your oil of oregano. And then you've got burdock, and I feel like it sits in the middle really nice and pretty, right? Burdock does have some very good benefits as far as being super alkalizing for the system. So that's one thing that I learned a long time ago about burdock, is that it is alkalizing. And that is important because Diseases love an acid environment. Diseases thrive in an acid environment. Diseases thrive where there's low oxygen in the system. And burdock alkalizes, right? So burdock gets in there and it helps to bring down that excess acid and put more alkalinity in the system. And so that does a lot. That does a bunch with making sure skin is nice and healthy, making sure joints are good, making sure the blood is cleaned, making sure that our digestive organs and everything inside is really nice, making sure we have less inflammation. And then burdock, as well as being, you know, something that's nourishing and alkalizing like that, it's also cleansing, right? Burdock is technically a bitter herb, so we can use burdock to get in there and help to wake up the digestive system. We could use it to help to stimulate the digestive juices in the mouth, also in the stomach. We can use it to help to wake up the appendix, the spleen, your pancreas, your liver, your gallbladder, even the bowels. It's not a laxative, but it's bitter, so it gets in there and wakes up and tonifies a lot of that stuff too, right? And so I just feel like a burdock is one of those that sets really nice. I always say on the side whenever I'm having somebody use burdock, or, you know, if they're choosing to use it, is I don't do burdock with a meal. I'll always do burdock, you know, first thing in the morning, last thing before you go to bed, or a couple of hours after you're eating, because burdock is such an alkalizer, and that's beautiful. But we want an acidic belly. You know, in order for us to digest our food properly, we have to have a highly acidic belly. You know, hydrochloric acid is there for a reason, and that is an acid, and it is very acidic, but that allows our body to break food down and digest food, and we have to digest the food in order for our body to be able to take it up and use it. And, you know, if you don't put food in, we're not having energy at some point, and we're not being able to, you know, to live long term. You can be without food for a while, but not forever. So yeah, with the burdock, I'm gonna say don't do it whenever you've got food fixing to be consumed, or if you're drinking a smoothie or something like that. I would just tell you to wait a couple of hours. Maybe you do burdock an hour before you're consuming nutrients, or maybe a couple of hours after. But I think it works really well in detox formulas, whether it be capsules, tea, or powder. And I think it also works really good in joint formulas, really good in arthritis formulas, really good in skin formulas. And it nourishes the system too, so it brings down all that inflammation. But yeah, I wanted to talk about those 3 things today, just to hit upon them so that I can start getting more information out here. My name is Dusty, and I'm an herbalist, and I've been an herbalist for the last 33 years. And it is my goal to get online on social media more and start putting my information out there. I like teaching people, and I've also had a lot of people say that they don't mind learning how I teach. You know, I'm not trying to teach above somebody's head. I love to give out free information. I do have an online store where I sell stuff. I do make courses. I have done consultations, which I'm not doing right now because I'm doing this stuff right here. But yeah, I just wanted to get out there, and I wanted to talk about moringa, oregano and oil of oregano, and burdock today. And if you like this kind of content, that you can follow me. You can save this video if you want. You can, you know, repost it out there if you want to do that. I'd love to have followers. If you have any herbs that you're interested in somebody telling you about, like me, then throw them in the comments and I'll look at it, and I'll do some little videos on those herbs too. I just love teaching people. I've done it for the last 33 years. I will continue to do it. But yeah, this is my first actual just get on here and talk about some herb video, and I think I will continue to do this at least a couple of times a week, hopefully. But yeah, if you've got anything that you need from me, let me know. And if you're interested in my store, let me know. And if you just want to know about an herb, let me know. But anyways, y'all have a good day. Thank you. Bye.